Guys, welcome back to Free Comic Book Day 2015 here at Cavalier Comics. I'm here with Mr. Jeremy Massie. And Jeremy, I'm holding your free book for Free Comic Book Day. It is All My Ghosts. Kind of explain to the viewers here kind of what it's about and why they should go pick it up.
It's a print version of the whole book. There's 4 issues of it. It's on Comixology. So you can get the whole story. And the story is about a small-town newspaper owner that has to sell his family business, which is the newspaper. And when he does that, a lot of supernatural stuff starts happening with his newspaper, and he starts kind of losing it a little bit and getting kind of wild, and it kind of goes from there. But there's ghosts in it. It's kind of a supernatural story, but it's more about him dealing with having to lose this thing that's been in his family for like 4 generations. That's what's cool.
Your stuff is more slice of life stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Kind of like your style and what kind of stories you like to tell.
Slice of life's just a nice way of saying just regular stories about everyday life, and I try to do stuff that's sort of more genre, more like a certain genre or something, but I can't really. It comes out all wrong. Like this, I was really trying to do like a supernatural thing, and it came out more slice of life. You know, it is more about the person, what the people are dealing with. You know, with the sale happening more than the supernatural stuff, it kind of leaned more that way. So that's the type of work I've always kind of done, and it wasn't like a choice or anything. That's kind of what I like. I'm always spying on people when they're not, you know, paying attention, and people are interesting. People are more interesting to me than ghosts and demons and vampires and dwarfs.
Talk about doing comics days. Obviously, over the last 5 or 6 years, really kind of blew up. How's it helped you get your work out there? You said you started. This is on Comixology. Talk about that a little bit. Talk about the digital kind of revolution that comes through.
It's the first time I've actually done it. The idea was to kind of keep me doing it and kind of have a schedule I would keep, which didn't happen. It took me. There was a lot of stuff that happened in between starting it and finishing it. We had a couple of like deaths in the family. All this crazy stuff happened, so it really didn't help me as far as. But it was cool to have something out too, because it'd been a while since I'd done something and published something. So it was nice to have some stuff out there you could take to cons and show people. So, you know, if you're an independent kind of indie or something cartoonist or alternative cartoonist, you're not going to get single issues out really too much anymore. That's just not something that's done a lot. It's more like you're working towards the book, the whole book, the graphic novel, whatever. So it's kind of cool to do an issue so you can have it come out every once in a while and kind of remind people, hey, I'm alive, and that kind of thing. So that's kind of nice.
Talk about, we live in Wise County.
Yes.
And this is starting to be, all these artists here are entrenched here in Wise County, or Northeast Tennessee, Southwest Virginia, into Kentucky a little bit. Talk about the community here and how it's kind of grown. Did you start kind of wanting to do this professionally and getting your stories out there?
It's weird because there's a lot of people around here, but I mean, Comics World is such a small place. I mean, anybody on this coast you run into. I mean, like a lot of these guys that are here will be at like Charlotte or in Bristol at like RobCon, or there's a couple more conventions at like Roanoke and stuff. It's a small world, but it's nice to hear like a familiar accent.
Right.
You know, I like that, so that's good.
Talk about a little bit, obviously, Free Comic Book Day. What was the first comic? I've kind of asked all these guys here. What was the first comic you kind of picked up that was like, not only do I just fell in love with comics, stuff like I kind of want to draw like that. I kind of want to tell stories like that.
First comic I ever read was it was an issue of X-Men. I don't remember the number, but it was basically like all this. It actually makes a lot of sense. This would be the first comic I read, but like nothing really happens in the issue. It's like one of those issues where they just got done with like going out in space, and they come back and they're just kind of chilling at the mansion, and like Wolverine's out hunting, and like a dude from Alpha Flight attacks him. That's about all that happened in the book. But it's more about them just like chilling and hanging out. So I think John Byrne drew it. It's one of those Claremont John Byrne era ones. That's the first comic I ever read, and I still remember reading it for the first time I copied out of it, and I still have it, and there's like divots in the paper and stuff where I just traced it. But yeah, that was the first one that made me want to do it.
Was Byrne one of those first artists you saw that kind of inspired you to want to be an artist, or is there certain ones that you can look back at and be like, that's the guy I looked at and I was like, I kind of want to draw, not necessarily like him, but I want to do what he does.
Well, yeah, when I was growing up, I liked a lot of those. I liked like Byrne and Dave Cockrum, who did it before. I really liked the X-Men when I was a kid, and then I kind of quit reading superhero stuff when I was about 12 or 13, and then I discovered people like the Hernandez brothers and like Haight and Klaus and all those people, and kind of got into comics again because then they were doing more like this, sort of the stuff I do, you know, like just about everyday life, stuff like that. So
you got into independent about 12 years old. I was much later. I was in my 20s before I got into independent comics. Talk about going from, and that's relatively young for something like.
I snuck them.
Yeah, right. Talk about your first one you read there that you was like, holy crap! I like superheroes.
I know.
This is amazing.
I know the first one. It was Hate. It was the issue of Hate. It's Pete Baggins. If you've never read Hate, it's about a guy named Buddy Bradley. And originally it was set in Seattle. And when he set it in Seattle, that whole grunge thing happened, and then he completely got sick because he was kind of associated with it, and then it kind of moved on and did other stuff. But it's basically about like a 20-something guy. It's drawn in a real, I don't know how to describe Pete Baggs' art. It's like rubbery, and if someone has a fit, it's a huge conniption fit. There's lightning coming out of them, explosions coming out of their heads. It's very cartoony, but they were about like relationships and like everyday life and stuff. So it was a weird mix. It somehow worked. And you just got really attached to those characters. But that was the first book that I really, really, really got into. And another thing that's interesting about it is that's the first book I looked at, and I'm like, one person did this. You know, it's like he wrote it, he inked it, he drew it, did the whole thing, lettered it, and I didn't know that was an option because I was more.
Well, Marv always listed.
Yeah.
Comics, so you're like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know any inkers or colors.
When you look at that, it's like, oh, good, because I don't know anybody, so I can, you know, that was kind of nice. It's like, oh, cool.
Jeremy, thank you for taking time out to talk to us, man. And tell them where they can find your artwork and where they can buy your stuff, man.
I got a blog called massieIsadeadbeat.blogspot.com.
He's not, I assure you.
My kids love me. Alternacomics.com put out my first book, The Deadbeat, and they put out all my ghosts digitally through Comixology. There might be a book version through them, I'm not sure, but hopefully, maybe we'll see. But Facebook, Twitter, all that. So very cool.
Jeremy, thank you, man, and Free Comic Book Day, Cavalier Comics 2015. Thanks, man. Hope you guys enjoyed the interview with Jeremy. He recently announced that he's starting a Kickstarter to do a physical print run of All My Ghosts. So go check out his Twitter feed at Jeremy_Massie. For more information when that's going to start up, so you can go ahead and pledge. He's also dropped some previews about some of the rewards that he's planning for the backers of the project. So go check that out. He's a great artist, great writer. So go check that out, and hopefully we can drum up some pledges for him to be able to do the project. Other than that, thank you for watching the video. We thank you guys for watching the coverage of Free Comic Book Day here on Monsters of Geek. Go check out part 1 and 2. It's already up. And also part 4 will be coming soon. We've got some great interviews with some guys locally here, great artists, great writers here in Southwest Virginia, and just the great culture that we have as far as comic books and the creators we have in this area. So go check that out. Go like, go subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get some more subscribers, so please subscribe, like the videos, and we really appreciate it. So other than that, we'll check you guys later.